Hello, welcome back. My name is Andrew, and those two down there, that's Will and Chris, finally starting to play together. Now, as you know, we're almost at the end of the village house renovation. We're at the penultimate week. Let's see how we're getting on. Heating. There's a thing that I haven't really mentioned much in my videos with regard to this house, and I have been asked about it a few times. That is a pellet burner, and we weren't ignoring it. We weren't sure if we were going to go with a pellet burner or a wood burner, but we've opted for this because that will cover about 85 to 90 square meters, and I can't remember the kilowatt of that off the top of my head, but it's ample for this room, all of this area. But unfortunately, we've got to get through that 70 centimeter plus thick stone wall, which will be fun, and trying to do it without making too much of a mess. Setting this thing up isn't that difficult, but that hole, anyway, we'll come back to that. Now, if you watched last week's video, you'll know that I'm going to be doing that door this week. But before I can get on with that, excellent. So I will be putting a 45 on the bottom of that, but you can see where the water's going to go down. It will go down into that hole, which will go all the way down here, out of there, down into there, which has two concrete blocks at the moment. That was just to protect it from all the debris, but that will be removed. Next stop will be the guttering at this end. Hello again. Yeah, ouch. All that clambering around that I do, you know, you have to take some risks. And then when do I hurt myself? Stepping backwards onto a pallet with a few leftover tiles. Ow, that really hurt my side. And I think you can't see it, but I've got a little scratch on there. So I've just had to come over to pause for a little bit because it dug right in. Oh, it happens. Yeah. Okay. Every morning I get up around 7 o'clock. It's a routine I have. I go outside, I look up, and I normally see crystal clear blue skies. We get over 300 days a year of crystal clear blue skies. It's quite spectacular, and the main reason why I'm here. Nothing unusual. I'm definitely more observant on things living in this environment since I've been living in this house. I feel more one with nature because I can take that time to just see what's going on around me. Whereas in the past, living more in cities and so on, rushing around every day, you don't pay attention to these things. And I know it's a discussion and maybe not for my channel, but I'm going to mention it anyway because this morning, no different, look up, blue sky, and then I fed the dogs half an hour. I then started walking down towards the back gate and I could see out the corner of my eye something in the sky, and I looked up and there were a dozen or so streaks, all with airplanes attached to them. So they were the trails from the aircraft. Nothing unusual there, I guess you could say, but why we didn't have them yesterday or the day before that, etc, etc, etc. Temperature's no difference, so you can put a lot of factors in there. But anyway, I've been monitoring it because it really stood out. Everything you see up there, bearing in mind now it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, is from around 7:30, 8 o'clock this morning. And it's just spreading, and it's all from the back of aircraft. Now, if you were to look up there now and didn't know that, you would just say it's fluffy clouds up there. But I've been monitoring it, so I'm going to see if I can. If we get another clear morning, I'm going to put the camera on time lapse and just see if that happens again. Right, where were we? We got the guttering sorted out down here. Got some new guttering there. I'm not going to trip over on that again today. Got a box of goodies So this guttering system is nice and straightforward. Because it's being clamped to tiles, I have to use this, which is exactly the same as I used around the bus. That basically goes in, clamps onto the tile like that, and then this piece here, if I got it right way around, I think it's that way around, then goes, but obviously you want the water to flow in a direction, in this case left from me, and so you can slide that up and down so that further down that way it'll be more like that, and at this end it'll be more like that, and hopefully that'll work. It's that way around. I've already attached it that end, as you can see. Very straightforward, just clips in. Unfortunately, just a little bit longer than this, so I'm going to have an attachment. Right, that's on secure. Downpipe next. Bit sweaty doing that. You can see around the flooring now, James has been putting a load of tape on the floor, which means we're getting ready for the painting of the skirting boards. At the moment, he's just doing a bit of sanding, getting all the filling sorted out, getting it good and smooth. Been on his knees for quite a while. I'm now going to turn my attention to one last thing to distract me from doing this door here, because I want to be doing this in a nice clean sort of environment, I guess. I want to get all of that junk there onto the truck and just get as much of this cleared as possible. In case you haven't spotted where I mentioned this in the past, we are going to be putting trimming on the top of each step, as you can see here, with this nice polished aluminium strip that will go all the way down the steps, both up onto the landing, up onto the mezzanine, and down here. I keep saying mezzanine. I don't know if it's mezzanine or mezzanine. Mezzanine. But that's what we're going to put on there. Be a nice finish. There we go, back to crystal clear blue skies. It is Thursday and Thursday afternoon. I can't believe where this week's gone. I guess it's the penultimate week, but yeah, it did require quite a lot of driving and getting stuff. And now I have started to fill up that truck. Going to take 2 loads, I think. At least the driveway is a tiny bit clearer, which is giving me a little bit more of my attention on this door. The driveway will clear out the very last thing, but the door itself, I guess you could say, why on earth are you doing it now and why didn't you do it before? Why are you doing this and not ordering one, having one made? There was a couple of reasons. One is obviously a budget. 2, we're trying to keep as much character as possible and reuse what we can. We've done really well at that up to this stage without compromising. The door being a slightly unusual shape as well played into it. We want to get as much light coming through here as possible, which is what those are for. We ordered those double panes ages ago, and there's 3 of them, and they are going to go in there, and we have one more larger one to go in there. That should allow lots of light to come in. But you can see with this metal, it's got nails going through it, and a lot of them. So clearly I'm going to have to make it look good, and hopefully this will work really well. There is part of me that says I really like the door as it stands, just tart it up and make it look more presentable and more finished. And I guess there is something to be said for that, but it is jarring with the rest of the house at the moment. And again, back to the light. So let's see how easy this is going to be, because this could be interesting. Actually not that heavy. thing that's screwed is this handle. Everything else is nailed. There is a little bit of rot at the bottom of the door, but we can replace that part. This really is 50-50, hit and miss at the moment. You'd think, given what I do, that I'd have a really good tool collection, but I don't. That's what I've done so far. There you go, looks a little bit like a door. But there are lots and lots of nails still stuck in here, so before I can do anything, I've got to remove everything and get it all prepared so that I can start sanding it. And with this big piece here covering over what was the original window, that section underneath there is going to have to come out. Well, it's certainly going to let lighting, that's for sure. When it's done, it's going to be the same colour as the garage door and the front door. And I'm going to leave it like that for a second because I've got to play around with the bottom so that we make sure that it's as close to the rock down there as possible. That nice slab that we're keeping as character. But I have now been relegated to the garage. So I'm going to take this opportunity as it is later in the day to disappear. All the skirts are painted, by the way. Tape's still down there, it's got to come up. Got to be sure that I don't make any mess in here now. There's one last thing I need to do while I'm still inside the house, while the door's up on its hinges. Right, whilst you weren't looking, on the door at the bottom you can see with this stone slab here, there is a gap. You can see the light coming through that door. Now, we don't want to tamper with the stone itself. We want to make sure that we shape the base of that door to match that. Bit unusual, I know, but we want to make sure that we don't have a gaping great hole down there letting draft through. To get that sorted out, I have marked on this tracing paper. I don't know if you can see it very clearly, but I was just using this and pressing down at different stages along here, and then tracing it off using this straight line across here as the top of the orange pieces there, and then just drawing the line across. And because my tracing paper, the A2 pad, isn't long enough, I've had to do it in two sections. So we got there to there, and then I start again up there following the rest of the contour. I then used this tracing paper to put underneath another piece, traced it off, cut it out, and stuck it on to the bottom of the door. And I don't know if you can see that very clear. We got the sun coming through, but now that's not leaving a gap at the bottom. But it'd be just enough, obviously, so the door can open. When I've got all that fixed in place and cut out, we can obviously test it and then trim it down as needed. But I needed something to start off with because I'm going to be taking this door back home now. I want to be in my own space around the dogs. I can work longer hours to get this done, and I've just got more tools there. I'm really struggling at the moment. This video is going to be cut a little bit short because it's Saturday afternoon. I've been driving around the last couple of days. Humidity is just starting to come in, and even just standing outside, sweat. It's like being in a sauna. If you're at the beach, it's beautiful, lovely breeze coming through, which could of course explain what I was talking about up in the sky. So I'm going to take this door off now that I've done that. I now need to put something in its place, temporary, and then I can shove it all in the back of the van, get back to mine and get started on it. And the wind's already blown it off. That's the only thing we've got, and we use that over the front door before we put the front door in, but it's too big for this area, so out with the angle grinder. Perfect. Good little tool, this, my utility bar. Forgot I had that. We've got a Swiss cheese door. Yeah, 50% glass, 25 wood, 25 filler. But it's worth it. It is going to be worth it. I know there's going to be a number of people saying, don't understand why you're doing that. For all the reasons I understand. This is a bit of a challenge for me, and I don't shy from challenges because, as you know, on my house, I'm going to be doing absolutely everything myself, from furniture to the house and everything basically. And so having something like this, if I can make it work, then it's just going to give me a little bit of experience and a little bit of confidence. And if it doesn't work, then I've tried at least. And you don't know until you try, do you? The only thing I think I'm going to have trouble with on there is, well, not trouble, but the only thing that could possibly go wrong is the routing, because in each one of those window holes there, I've got to route so that the glass sits down inside it, and then I've got to put beading around it. Then it's going to be a case of fill, sand, fill, sand, fill, sand, and then get it ready for painting. So I reckon all day tomorrow, then a couple of days just to sort it all out, and then we get it painted back on the house. Is probably going to have to come backwards and forwards a couple of times for that lower bit of down at the bottom of the door. But I'm pretty confident this is going to work, and it will fit in with the rest of the house. And again, it's all about the challenge of doing it. And if all else fails, then we'll come up with a plan B. The next video, or before I say that, this framework here that, you know, I put a cover on, this is now perfect for what I'm doing. I would like it a little bit higher, but I'm going to worry about that another day when it's, I'm going to move it down the garden. I've already decided down there I have some chairs and a table, and I think that's where it wants to go, but I want to jack it up. But in that direction is where the sun rises, and you can see the trees are blocking quite a lot of the sun where I'm going to be standing until late morning, I think. It's around about 7ish in the evening now, and so a bit later on in the afternoon, the trees on this side will block the sun. So having this in the middle means that I got shade all through the day, which is perfect. And I get to be back here, a little taster for what it's going to be like in a couple of weeks when I start fresh here at my house, which I'm very much looking forward to, and I hope you can join me on it. There we go. Now, I do want the next video to be the very last video on the house in the village with regard to what we're doing on it, because we've got to get it finished next week. But this week, as you've already noticed, I've had to do quite a lot of running around to do things off camera that just aren't really relevant to what I'm doing in my videos. And next week, as you can appreciate, given where we are with this house, there are quite a few things that we need to tie up. So I'm going to do my best to get that in the next week. But the one a couple of weeks ago that I missed out on, that wasn't deliberate. That was down to a corrupt file, and I lost everything that I was working on during that week. So this next one, I'll do my best, but if I feel like I'm running around too much, then I'll just postpone it for 1 week. And then afterwards, I'm going to take a couple of weeks off. I need to spend time here, regroup. I need to get a little bit of rest and spend time with the dogs, go down the beach a little bit and plan what I'm going to be doing on my house and preparing myself for my new journey with my videos and so on. And with that in mind, in that time, I'm going to make 2 videos, start to finish of the main house in one video, and then a start to finish on the courtyard on the following video, because doing it all into one video, going through all those files and in that 2-week period is going to prove itself to be quite difficult. So I'm really looking forward to that. I hope you can watch those too. Having looked back through some of the older videos when we first started on that house in the village, so much has changed to it. I think it's going to be very exciting for me to put it all together, if nothing else. So hopefully I can make it entertaining enough. On that note, stop waffling. I'll see you very soon, hopefully next weekend, and we'll get that house finished. And of course, we will go on about the budget and so on. And when we sell the house, I will be bringing it up then. So until next time, take care, look after yourselves. Bye for now.